Yo, I'm building my own dream. All because y'all said I couldn't.
Two for the team, we getting off of the block. I see him aiming at me, tell him get off of my jock. I'm gon' black out, I'm gon' black out, I'm gon' black out. Give me my ish, I'm back now.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the How to Build Your Own Dreams podcast. I'm Erin Knight, president and co-founder of Build Your Own Dreams.
I'm Brandon Boone. I'm co-founder of Build Your Own Dreams. And as you can see, we have another very, very special guest, somebody that's in our community that we've been building with here in Austin. We at RichesArt Gallery, and we with Rich, man. What's going on?
What's good, y'all? What's good, man? I really appreciate y'all coming through, having me on here.
We're excited to be here to talk to you.
Yeah.
You're an innovator, a tastemaker, a game player. We're like,
come on, man.
Facts.
But Rich, honestly, we admire you so much, and you're somebody that we have collaborated with a ton here in Austin. So this is a really special episode. I think we should just kick it off with you giving an intro. We're in your space. So thank you for letting us use your space to film this podcast.
Hey.
But go ahead, tell us who you are, what you do, and then why we're here.
I mean, y'all being here is always ideal to me, so I appreciate
that.
y'all again. But yeah, my name is Richard Samuel, owner of RichesArt Gallery. I'm assuming I'm supposed to be talking to the...
You can talk to us or...
All right, bet. Yeah, owner of RichesArt Gallery here, Austin, Texas, 6th Street. Been open for about 2 years, 4 months now.
Yeah.
It feels like
Wow,
10,
it
but...
does feel
So that's
like a long
post.
time.
That's post-pandemic.
Yeah.
Or
was-
right in the midst of it.
It was like kind of towards the tail end.
Okay,
It was
okay,
still,
okay.
We were still in it, but in here, Austin, it really was.
Texas
Right,
been
right,
open
right,
since
right,
the
right.
beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was open, you know. So it's crazy because I talk to people about that a lot, and they're always like, "I can't believe you opened up during the pandemic." I'm like, "Well, we didn't really notice it here."
Like folks were
We-
saying Atlanta was
we
open,
still going.
but Texas was open.
I think we really shut down for maybe like 6 months. If that.
Brandon, because I was
If
still
that.
flying here.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
The only guideline that I had to do when we opened up is like all the big events had to be outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
that was only maybe like 2-3 months of that. And then,
Right. But it's
It was
perfect. Your venue set up perfect for people to be outside because your doors
Yeah, we got the
swing
little-
right open and it's like boom.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was the selling point. I found this place on Craigslist,
Oh,
and that
Yo.
that was the selling point. I was like, the landlord was like, "Yeah, you can do whatever you want to do outside." He honestly, the
Wow.
landlord didn't know that I was a community builder, and he was like,
Ah.
"If you good with your neighbors and all that, you can throw whatever you want out here." I'm like, "All right, you shouldn't have
Jeez.
told me that."
Let's go.
Dang. So let's talk. So what was the vision? Like, why start this gallery? Why you felt like it was needed?
I mean, what it is now was nothing what I thought, like
Right,
what I
right.
started this place for. So I taught I retired from playing football, and I dove into my art brand, and I started teaching watercolor classes all over Texas.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dope.
And then me and my my teammate, who was my best friend, moved here. We have Super Print Brothers together, our custom clothing business. We have a direct-to-garment machine, so we needed a place for that. And then I teach the art class. I was like, well, I'm gonna just go look for a space. No, it just happened. I got my PPP loan because I've been claiming my art on my
Right, right,
taxes
right,
for a minute
right.
now. I got the PPP loan. It was the exact amount. When I found this place on Craigslist, talked to the landlord, it was the same amount. Like there was like a 2 days difference. Like got the
Wow.
PPP, and I was like, let me just go on this Craigslist tour, and then it was the exact same amount. And I was like, well, you know,
You
That's
invested in
crazy.
yourself.
'Cause
That's
this is-
amazing.
This a prime location. Like you in the middle of East 6th Street, in the midst of a lot. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. A lot of people don't
Yeah.
just find you. I feel like you
Location
just
is
don't
key.
find this on
The
Craigslist
best bars,
like this.
the best food.
Yeah.
There's an HEB down the street. You got a
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah.
There's street parking. You got everything.
yeah, we
Jeez.
got lucky. And when I came here and I, did the tour, and then he told me the price, and I was like, well. And so like the art gallery part of it was third. So we had the classes, we had the custom clothing business, and then the art gallery part of it was I was like, I'll just decorate the place with artists around,
Right,
provide
right,
a
right.
platform, and I always wanted to host jazz nights.
Oh, wow.
So those 4 things is what I was going into it with.
That's fire.
And then like a couple months into it, I found out that it was the only black-owned art gallery in town, and it was one of 2 in Texas.
Wow.
So, like,
that's fire.
Those individual artistic aspirations, I put those to the side, and what can we do for the community?
Right.
So we changed it.
And
to-
not even just art gallery too. It's just venue, event spaces, in Austin, it's not that many black owned.
No.
I feel like it's only y'all and what EXO.
I mean, you count Kenny Durham's.
Kenny Durham's, yep, and then the new Color Gallery, but that's 3, 4.
And all of, I mean, EXO just opened up.
Right.
Just opened up,
yeah.
like, you know, but it's good. We on track right now.
Facts.
You know, the growth. So,
jeez,
I'm proud of it for sure.
Yeah, you should be.
Are there any like obstacles that's been stopping you, or not stopping you, but like that you've been overcoming since you opened these past 2 years?
Yeah, it's always creative ways to make everything you're doing intentionally make money. Like, you got to make it make sense. You know what I mean? And then if you can find a way. The biggest key is to tap into like corporate money and different things like that.
Facts.
You can have like that Robin Hood effect, to where like if you really want to provide space and make a change, being able to tap into that network and that money and bring it back to your community, that is, you know what I'm saying?
We have been the byproduct of you feeling that way and deciding, because it's like we've been here for big corporate events. Like we pulled up at South by Southwest, and you had one of the events here. I'm like, dang, how much did you were like? Yeah, they spent a grip because it was nice how they had it set up. But I knew the sponsor because they were from Atlanta, and I was like, I know they dropped the bread. But then when we want to do something, we're like, Rich, you're like, yo, what you got? What we working with? And you always support, you always promote. This is, to me, I grew up in Atlanta throwing like underground parties in like abandoned buildings or like people's like backyards or like garages, and this has that feel. It's not that it's like it's not that it's like not nice, because your space is nice. You know what I'm saying? The people that you got the bathrooms on the other side, the people keep them clean. You know what I'm saying? We've thrown events outside, but it's like it feels like a DIY space where you're like, yo, whatever you want to do, whatever you can imagine. So we've done multiple events here where it's like, oh, okay, well, we got a tattoo artist up there. We're going to do the sushi down here. And then another event is like, okay, we're going to do everybody outside, but the bar is going to be in here. You know, like you really help dreamers dream. And I've been in this space for other events where stuff was just like flipped and looked different. To me, as a creative, walking into a space like this and you not like feeling like you got to control everything, where you're like, hey, I support you. You really are like the Robin Hood of our community in Austin, because every black creative who's throwing events in Austin has come through Riches. Every one of them. If you haven't yet, it's probably because you're not really throwing events yet. But all of us, this is like a hub for us. We feel safe here. And it's like, that's why we were like, Brandon was like, we got to get Rich on the podcast. I'm like, for sure. So Rich, I want to give you your flowers because, you know, like I don't even live here, but I think maybe like 5 or 6 months after you opened, Brandon brought me up here, and then we threw an event maybe 8 months after you opened, and this is just like, oh, where are we throwing an event? Yo, is Rich open? You know what I'm saying? Even like recently, you know what's been going on with us. Yeah. You're still riding for us. You're like, nah, I know y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
It's one of those things that you know how things work. You know what I mean? So there was no reason to even like go into like a big fuss about that. And also like, if you're a creative, you know how those relationships can be sometimes. Right. You know what I mean? That's why you got to try to get stuff in writing all the time as much as you can, because even you can have your best friend and things don't work out.
That's what happened.
That's
what happened.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. I appreciate y'all for sure. And being intentional and being able to provide space is probably the most fulfilling thing. Like, that's dreams of mine in life, to be able to give back and provide space, especially artistically, for self-expression. That is
dope. So what's some of the new things you working on, what you have coming up? I'll let you share the news, but I know you got some big stuff coming up. But yeah, tell us kind of what you have coming.
Yeah, so our biggest goal here, especially on the east side, growing up here, you know, get my hair braided down the street or be going into the underground, like seeing Paul Wall and them play, like over here on the east side, like I'm tied to that, and seeing the gentrification that's happened on this side of town, that's, you know, it's disheartening.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because this side of town is known to be that cool and that eclectic for a reason, but it's like everybody moved here for it and then to displace it. We don't even have to go into like the whole history from like 1929 to separate but equal and all that kind of stuff, because it's long, but my number one goal is to get to ownership, to where we own the land that we operate on. And to do that, you got to keep building infrastructure, you know, get the credit, get the, you know, other business you part with, tenants, so you have that type of history, you can qualify, get the land, whatever. But so we have a second location opening.
Fire.
Congrats. Congrats. When I saw that launch online, when I tell you my face lit up, I'm like, Rich, you got a second location.
Yeah, I'm so pumped about it. It's a little bit different. It's not exactly like boom, another art gallery.
Right.
It's a creative content studio. So it's a house. It's got 6 rooms.
Wow.
It's going to have a podcast room. It'll have a product photography room. And then it'll have 3 other rooms that are set up like photography rooms that you can rent by the hour. So essentially kind of fuel the creativity up underneath the gallery again. And hopefully everything works out. There's a couple other properties to work on. We'll have like 4 and 5 years. So
fire.
That's the goal. And then ownership after that for sure.
Yeah. When y'all set to open?
So we'll have a soft opening on September 1st.
Oh, wow, that's fast.
So a couple weeks. There's not a lot construction-wise that you got to do to the space. It's more like the creative direction. There's like one wall we have to take down. But yeah, the soft opening will be more of like a tour. So we'll have people at the property. We'll have music. You can walk the space, kind of see what we're going to do. But it won't be officially open probably till end of September.
Right.
Super dope.
And that's right down the street, right?
Yeah, it's crazy because this is 2511 East 6th Street, and then that one's gonna be 1211 Cecil Street.
Oh wow! So you can almost walk there.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. 100%. For you to be somebody who you are a serial entrepreneur. You had the clothing business, you had the art classes that you were teaching, the watercolor. You own this gallery. You haven't had it that long, and now you're opening up another business. Like you said, it's not just a second location. It's kind of a completely different business plan. What was it like for you on your entrepreneurial journey to be like, I want to expand? Like, yes, ownership, but how did you, is it mentors? Is it exposure? Like, what was it that got you to the place where you're like, yeah, I can do this. I don't want to just stay here. I want to do more.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather, we've had family businesses growing up. My grandfather started a construction business, which is why we moved from Houston to up here in the first place. And then we also had a coffee shop. So like, it's one of those things where I've always been an extremely hard worker. Like, I devoted my entire life to like being good at my craft of football, and that work ethic translates to everything I put myself into. And then watching my grandfather and my family grind and do what they want to do when they want to do it it's one of those things that like there's no fear because I see it's possible. You know, you gotta put in the work and make it happen.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you seen the company, just Rich's Art Gallery, have you seen it grow? Is it scarce? Like, was this house a big risk, or was it something that you're like, no, I can see the art gallery scaling, so I know a second space makes sense? Like, what was your thought process there, business-wise?
I mean, I've learned a lot on my entrepreneurial journey just with the gallery. And one thing that I've learned that's been extremely successful for us here is the event rentals. They've been crazy good here. So being on all those platforms, you get to see like the best rental spots. You can look them up all over.
Right.
You can see the best ones in Austin. You can see everywhere. And the top rental spot in every city are content studios. Literally, like
because we rent them a lot. We rent them for this podcast.
Right, there's content studios. So it's like, okay, so I just need to find a good spots where it makes sense to make that happen. I got lucky with this property because I put the dreams out there, all the investment plans with the gallery and everything, and then that stuff came back to me. That butterfly effect came back, and a guy approached me about he wants to get this property, but he couldn't get this half of it because he couldn't pay for that much. He needs another business to go in with it. And then the tenants themselves are just looking to try to get it off the market because they're going to build a high rise there in 2028.
Oh wow!
Or a boutique hotel. Okay. And so they really just want a tenant in there that So they toured me the place, they showed it, and it was 6 rooms. I was like, God dang, man, this is kind of everything I've been thinking about.
And it don't look that big from the outside. I didn't know it had 6 rooms because I pass that joint all the time. I seen it because I have a banner right that say for leasing on it.
And so the good thing about that too is, so his business is the tattoo barbershop and coffee shop, the big blue building next to it. So he wants me to curate the inside of that, the art as an art gallery.
Right.
And then I'll have, after business hours, I'll have that for events and stuff
Right,
like that.
right,
So
right.
essentially any type of the creativity that goes down in that studio house can be directly put in that gallery or go over to, this gallery over here.
Nice.
Okay.
And we had, you got to do your research and work out good business terms, obviously. So knowing the situation where the tenants wanted to sell and all that, we were able to play just first month's rent and deposit. And our rent doesn't start till November 1st, really.
Oh,
so we don't have a bill due for 3 months.
Right.
So it's like, get it open, get going. You build up that income, that padding, and then, so.
That's fire.
It just made sense.
Crazy. Yo, that's so impressive and encouraging.
Facts.
Thank you.
So I guess somebody who's looking to open a space or whatever, what you feel like being some of the best needed tools that you needed? Because you just started 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of venues around here that's not doing as great as you are. So what's some of the components that really making you successful right now?
I mean, there's several of them. I would say the biggest thing is my work ethic.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not ready, if you want to open a brick and mortar and you too good to sleep there, to wake up the next morning and make it happen, then it's probably not gonna work for you.
Yeah.
Because you got to think of it. Obviously, you want to have option A, B, C, but like option A is really the only option, and mentally. And maybe that's the football that's coming out, but there was several times like that used to be my office up there. It's a lounge now, but I slept up there. I would host an event here before I had an event coordinator or anything. I would host the event, get done like 3 a.m. cleaning it. I'm mopping, sweeping. I go up there, fall asleep, wake up Saturday and teach an art class.
You know
what I mean? Like, I was grinding, and then carrying, I'm going to go two things. Carrying the intentionality into your space to where like can we cuss? Like you give a damn. I authentically give a damn. Like I want people to be successful. I especially want my culture to be appreciated here in Austin.
Thanks.
So like I give a damn. And then third to that, you gotta have good like attorneys. Like you gotta know somebody that can teach you how to do taxes and get that stuff kind of lined up, like how we do grants now or how our tax situation works and all that. You gotta have somebody that's on your team to do that stuff, because there's a lot of different things you can qualify and work out with that'll affect your bottom dollar in a positive way. So,
and I'll add, you mentioned this earlier, you're such a great community builder. It's like there's a lot of people who own stuff and you don't even want to work with them because it just gets weird. But you're like, no, I'm here for y'all. Like, what's up? Like, let's make this work. And you show up to the events. I love that. Like, even though you have an event coordinator now, I don't know if it's just for our events, but I'm assuming you do it for everybody else.
I'm at everybody. I come to hang out at y'all's.
But it's like you don't even have to at this point because you have a staff now, and you still pull up. You show love. Every one of our events, people have bought art. It's
facts.
That's not even like, it's like, oh yeah, we're just on this party, but you curate it so well because you care about the community, you care about the artwork. So it's like, I feel like you're just building this beautiful ecosystem here. So,
I appreciate
you're
you.
killing
I appreciate you. It's crazy. It's really not that hard to be good to people.
Right? It's not. That's what.
It's really not that hard. And you see,
it's
like
simple.
Being like a businessman that it is now, you can see how people move and operate, and you're like, wait, how does that even work?
You're intentionally being terrible.
It's the harder route to be terrible.
Because you got to think about that. You got to strategize to be an asshole.
100%. But no, I come hang out at y'all's. There's a few events that we have, like just giant ones that, when you have a baby, you're like, well, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Let me see what's going on.
I'm going to check out. But no, I'm coming to hang out at y'all's. I already know it's about to be lit. I got me some boba tea last time.
Appreciate that.
As somebody who's experimenting and figuring it out, I feel like you're very fluid. How did you get like that? Because I do know you played sports, and Brandon and I grew up playing sports, which is why I think we gelled really well, because the way that we work, our thought process on team building and things like that. How did you get so fluid, though? Because I know for a lot of people, moving from a structured sport or structured life into being like, I know you were a creative, but I know sometimes it's like difficult to be like, okay, I'm gonna just let y'all have it, or I'm gonna figure it out. How did you get like that? You seem to be like very roll with the punches and open to challenge.
Yeah, so I mean, played football my entire life. Played pro, was All-American at Texas Southern College. Yeah, lived in Europe, played for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And then so my entire ideology was, you know, whatever I'm doing professionally is going to be with football. I'm going to be, like, if I'm not playing, I'm going to be a football coach.
Right.
So I actually had my first solo show while I was playing pro in Germany, which made me go dive in my art bag even harder. But when I retired, I was like, well, let me just take a break from football for a year. Let me just go to art shows. Let me do all that kind of stuff. But eventually fell back into, I took a coaching job, an offensive coordinator job. And I was going to be an offensive coordinator at 30. So it was like, this is going to prepare. I'll be in the NFL in no time at this point.
Right.
But with that ideology, you always want to be a really good coach. So I always researched, you know, favorite coaches or how great coaches are doing at that point in time. And one thing that always stuck out to good coaches is that you don't make your players fit your system. You coach your system to your players every time.
That's good.
You know, so like, and that applies so many things in life.
Yeah.
Like your team that you have on, you know, my event coordinator, our PR, whatever, you kind of like let them fit to what their goals are. You know, one of our big things here at the gallery is if you're pouring into the gallery's cup, the gallery has to be pouring back into yours. So it's like, if you're going to work here, we got to figure out how to align, you know, things like that. And then, like, going through this process with the gallery and having that ideology, I don't know if that's going to work or not.
Right.
But it started looking like it was working. So it was like, well, let me just roll with it. And then you get to a point where, like, man, you don't really have to be tied into, like, there's very few things you have to be possessive over. Like, you can make it work and you can be fluid like that. And, you know, people appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the long route to that question. But
no, that's good. We've worked with a lot of venue owners, and we feel like we're always navigating around personalities, not working with personalities.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm somebody with a big personality, and I'm easy to work with, but I feel like a lot of times, again, people are possessive.
Yeah.
They're not they're like, this is how we do it here, and it's like, dang. But we're creative. Like, can we be artistic? Like, we don't do it like that because we've seen this work, you know, and you're so open. And I think that that's what, to me, has contributed a lot to your success, because it's not one size fits all here.
Facts. We definitely had that little journey the first time I met you when y'all threw y'all.
Over the barbecue.
Yeah, the grill. I was like, listen, I ain't tied to too much with it. I really don't want nobody to get blown up on it.
I feel that. But you worked with us.
Like, can we move
we
this
worked
out
through
of
it.
the thing? You know?
We worked through it.
Yeah.
But that's what. I think that's a good point, because a lot of times when we talk about community and relationships, it's like, it's always, we got to be best friends. Like, families fight, right?
Yeah, facts.
It's how you get over that, how you evolve around the confrontation. Because after that, we was cool again.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't nothing like blown up big.
Crazy,
it was just a disagreement. It's okay to disagree with somebody.
100%.
And it was nothing but respect.
But it wasn't like
we were like, well,
you
we don't
come
like
out
you
cussing
now.
us out.
You were like, yo, this could be a liability.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Right.
My name is on this.
Yeah.
And then we were like, dang, this is kind of the focal point of our event. And then you were like, okay, can we maybe, you know, and then you walked away. We talked about it. You came back. We were like, let's try this. And you was like, okay, let's roll.
Because, I mean, at that, you know, you really got to worry about, like, crowd control at that point. And y'all ended up having, like, what, 300 people come through?
It was a good
and, you know, and it only takes one person to get burned by the grill
sure.
or knock the gas over. And there's people smoking, and then all the tents is on fire. The whole complex is on fire.
You know, and it was like, we didn't even think about it from that perspective. We was like, no, we gonna have a barbecue. So when you started talking, I'm like, I was mad at Brandon.
I could tell.
I was like, yo,
because you told Brandon, and then Brandon was like, Rich said, I'm like, man, this is our whole focal point. And he was like, no, he's not telling us to shut it down, but we got to think. And Brandon was like, you got to think, somebody could burn themselves. People are smoking. I'm like, all right, you make sense. You know what I'm saying? But that was it. There was never any disrespect that changed hands. And then to me, how supportive you even were of that event. Every time we come back, I'm like, oh yeah, Rich is our guy.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So
For sure.
I guess before we get out of here, we always ask, we got a lot of creative entrepreneurs that's listening to us, listen to the podcast. What's one piece of advice or one tool you would give that person that's listening and that's trying to build their own dreams?
Man, I can tell you that I would love to write a book on this because I could list 100 things. But my favorite thing to tell people that was helped me get over my biggest hump of just being a creative in general, whether it's fashion or curating art or doing art or anything, was falling in love with my own mistakes.
That's
you know
good.
what I mean? So to put it in like a simple term from like a visual artist, every artist is inspired by the artist, and you judge yourself harshly on like your work compared to what you're trying to emulate. You know what I mean? And it becomes harsh. You're like, I don't really know how to price this, or I price this really low because it don't look like how I was really trying to do it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you put in that work and you realize, you work the brush this way because that's just how your body wanted to work it or anything like that, it easy become like attached or fall in love with your own art. Yeah. So I stopped judging myself on the way my art was looking and kind of just accepted the way I was doing it. Yeah. And fell in love with my own mistakes. And it was like the pricing was like, well, you don't know how to buy it because this is me. Like this can't be replicated no more. Now this is my brand. This is how I do things. So yeah, falling in love with your own mistakes is huge.
Jeez. I love that. Huge. That's amazing.
So how can people support the new location? Plug yourself, plug the websites or socials.
Yeah, for sure. So we're doing crowdfunding right now. I just made this up. It just seemed like it may start, but I always have like a plan 1, 2, and 3 when it comes to like fundraising and things like that. So right now we're doing crowdfunding. Because, we have a huge community. Say 10,000 people gave $1, it's $10,000. That place could be open in a week. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's how you can affect your community in a positive way. Yeah. So we're doing crowdfunding. We have a soft opening September 1st. There'll be art auctions and everything that's a part of it to raise the funds for the gallery. It's all on the website or the Instagram. Click the link tree, and you can go to the fundraising and all that. And then besides that, really like showing up, being here at the gallery, we got comedy nights, poetry nights, our DJ series, art history lectures, watercolor classes, collage classes, like everything you can think of, every self-expression. We've had plays here.
Tech conversations, country music conversations.
Right. We about to start a two-step tonight.
Oh, that's fire. We about to start a two-step we gonna be sliding on that.
Tattoo parties. You've had so many things. The art party outside where everybody got to come spray paint. That was one of my favorite ever Austin events.
Hell yeah.
That was so, I think about that party regularly.
Let's go.
That was hard. That was Comic-Con. That was last year.
Oh, so we doubling down on Comic-Con. So Comic-Con last year, like comic book shit, all the pop culture, that's my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
And out of all of our opening receptions we had here at the gallery, that Comic-Con was our lowest attended one by far.
That was a good event. I loved it. I loved that event. Facts. And you had that dude in the corner who had that big angel picture. And it was like, that joint was amazing.
And so, me and Chris kind of felt some type of way about it. Us being nerds, we were like, wait a minute. We doing all these other stuff that's just popping off, and then we can't get the Comic-Con going. So we like, we doubling down. So we got the Comic-Con coming up, opening reception September 29th. We'll have all the buildings out here light mapped with the video games again. Obviously, we'll have the movie theater with some previews and stuff on there. We have a bunch of really successful comic book artists here signing their comic books. Fire. A bunch of cosplayers walking around. It's a costume contest, obviously. And then the art gallery will be curated with about 60 works. That's all pop culture, comic book, manga, all of that.
Jeez. So I'll be in town for that?
You might now. September, you said September 29th.
29th, open. But the exhibit goes up for the whole month.
I'll be in town.
Fire.
So another thing too was, we can talk about this as a collab as well. So we have certain type of parties that are going to happen inside of October for it. So we're going to have a Tim Burton ball. We're going to have a Stranger Things 80s event. And then we're also going to have a night in Tokyo where it's all like
that's all right
stuff. So, but yeah, those are going to be 3 other parties inside of October that are for the exhibit.
Right.
And what's your Instagram? Shout out
RichesArt Gallery. Okay. RichesArt Gallery.
Yeah, it's behind us too if you need to
make sure y'all tap in, support. He's doing a lot of great things for the community. So make sure y'all tap in, Like, share, comment, tell a friend about the podcast.
Subscribe.
Yes, subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. And we see y'all next time.
Thanks.
Peace.
Appreciate y'all.